It is 7:00 p.m. It is the appointed and advertised time for our December 10th, 2018 Aleppo workshop meeting. I call this meeting to order. Let's please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Shouldn't do that when I'm reading.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Could we take a roll call, please?
President Dobler?
Present.
Vice President Jones?
Present.
Commissioner Williams?
Here.
Commissioner Dara?
Present.
Commissioner Duplaga? Here. Solicitor Lovato?
Here. All right, let the record reflect that a quorum is present. Let me start, please, with an announcement that this meeting, like all Aleppo Township meetings, is being streamed live over YouTube, and when it finishes, it will automatically be posted to YouTube. So that means that people can tune in from afar, from home, and can watch us, and we won't know whether or not they're watching us from there. And then the second the meeting is over, it'll go onto YouTube, where it will stay forever, and it will be posted and accessible by anybody at any time, anywhere. So all that means, be on your best behavior, because you can't take back anything that you say. With that formality out of the way, I will entertain a motion to approve the November 19th, 2018 legislative meeting minutes.
So moved. Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. That motion carries. Thank you. Okay. Old business, 2019 millage ordinance.
To set the millage rate for every year, the board needs to adopt an ordinance setting that rate. So you will be doing that next week at the legislative meeting. It's been advertised, and that'll be the first step. First you adopt the millage ordinance, and then you adopt the budget ordinance.
Okay, so we're doing nothing on that tonight?
Correct.
Have you also covered 6B, 2019 budget ordinance, or do you have anything else to say about that?
Same process, that adopts the budget that you all received. This is your last week to shoot me any comments or questions, but it's been advertised and ready to go. So you'll adopt it next week.
Were there any comments?
Other than, looks good, I got it looks good.
It's in the Herald.
It's in the Herald, a little article in the Herald talking about it.
Yep. Okay, 6C, I'm sorry. 537 plan revision proposal. Glenn, why don't you tell us about this, please?
This, a proposal was sought from Banks and Engineers we need to update our 537 plan. And Banks and was asked to send us a proposal for that work, and that's what you have here.
The proposal is pretty much consistent with what we learned when we attended the meeting with the DEP, what was back in November. It's almost requiring a rewrite of the whole plan.
Gwen, did you see my email asking if they had been back to the DEP
I did, I don't have any knowledge of them being back.
and asking if public hearings would be required?
They are required. They said that in the meeting.
But I don't think I see anything in their budget to cover that.
So it would just be appearance fees, basically, you know, to,
I would assume they'd charge something.
I'm sure, I can find out. If they would do that separately than the plan, right, which is probably what this is. Sure.
So I guess really,
that would be an
Dan,
action item for next week as well.
This would be?
To what?
I would think to accept this proposal.
Well, why don't we, if the goal is to vote on that next week, why don't we raise that tonight and then postpone it for a week? Are you making that motion?
Yeah.
second.
All right, so the proposed motion is to adopt the 537 plan.
Typo.
Proposal.
adopt the 537 plan revision proposal.
From Banks and Engineers.
Would we accept?
Well, pending clarification of the public consultation part.
Well, I think with a motion and a second, I had asked two questions of Dan and Gwen. One, are we sure that this covers all of the tasks required by the DEP? And two, are public hearings going to be mandated? And if so, I would almost insist that the engineer be in,
Oh, they run those.
and I don't see that in the budget.
Yeah, that's a good catch. That's a good point.
Well, do you want to, okay, do you want to modify this motion?
No, I would just like clarification of that before we vote next week.
Yeah,
I think
pending
you can let the motion
clarification of
stand.
the public comment portion. I wouldn't-
Well, I don't think, I mean, it's, I don't need to
Okay, we can go over it next week.
engineer that. Yeah, I mean, I think that motion will be voted on next week, so you can
Yeah.
modify.
Say
it.
no if it's not ready. We
Yeah,
don't
right.
know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I guess a question that I would have is, do you want to build into this, is the proposal a not to exceed cost?
Well,
No,
it's a lump sum, isn't it?
It's an hourly, I mean, when I
No,
read it, it was hourly based.
Not to exceed.
It's a not to
It
exceed.
is not to
The
exceed.
time, it's a time and
No
materials
amount in
contract
excess.
over the not to exceed price.
Okay,
It's an estimate. It says with an estimated amount of 13,800, no amount in excess of 13,800 will be invoiced without prior authorization from the
Right.
township.
okay, so then you don't need to bake that in. Right?
Oh, right.
Okay, so if this is the motion we like, I'll make a motion to defer for 1 week.
Second? No, give it to Art.
Okay.
Okay, so there's a motion to defer for 1 week and a second. Right now, we're voting only on the subsidiary motion to defer for 1 week. We are not voting on the main motion. All those in favor of the subsidiary motion to defer for 1 week, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carries. Thank you. We'll vote on that next week.
Okay, so I have a question on this firm. How were they selected? Or why did we pick this particular
The
one?
authorities, engineers.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
That used to be ours.
So we've had a good experience with them. Okay.
And they have history.
That's what I was wondering. Thank you.
Okay, anything else with respect to the 537 plan? All right, any other old business? All right, let's turn to new business. Water rate ordinance.
This is not a new announcement of water rates, it's simply the ordinance to ratify and help support the rates that were adopted by the authority several months ago. So this is not a new announcement of any new rates, it's just an administrative action to have the township adopt the rates, which,
And the rate increase was in response to the rate increase we got from Westview.
correct.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
The rate increase that we're talking about for this ordinance was made necessary because of the rate increase that Westview put through last September.
At 33 1/3%.
Yep. And then, wait.
Okay, so do we have to do anything on that tonight?
Not tonight, it'll be on, it's advertised for adoption next week.
Okay. All right, next item of new business is cookies and coffee next week. So, we've done this for several years in a row now. It's our effort to perhaps get to know folks a little bit better and socialize with people and get to know the Aleppo residents more informally than we do at a meeting. So next week, following our legislative meeting, we'll have a plate of cookies and coffee, and we'll all just hang out for a few minutes afterwards. So I hope that everybody will join us, and feel free to stay and hang out for a little bit. Next is Christmas tree pickup. So this is our second year picking up Christmas trees. Last year, boy, I should have prepared for this. Last year, we picked up
68?
68
Ish.
trees from Aleppo Township. And we'll be doing that again this year. The pickup date will be,
Stop, I didn't prepare you.
okay, wait, hold on, we're gonna get this.
Pretty sure it's January. I'm not gonna say it loudly. January 7th?
When was it, January 7th?
It's usually the Monday after New Year's.
Or maybe by trees dropping needles, I'm gonna have a Charlie Brown Christmas.
I have mine out like the day after New Year's.
Okay, it's gonna be January 7th, 2019, which is a Monday. And this year, last year what we did was we had our Public Works crews pick them up and take them to North Park, where Allegheny County crews mulched them and used them on county park trails and whatnot. This year, rather than schlepping them all the way to North Park, we're gonna have a chipper that's gonna pick them up as we go. So we'll chip them right as we go, as we collect them. And then we've talked to Bob from Swickley Heights Manor, who needs the chips for things around the manor. So the chips will stay in Aleppo. We won't be sending our chips out, and it'll be a good thing for everybody. So there's no difference to the residents. You won't notice that they're being taken, or that they're being chipped on the streets rather than taken out there. The net effect will be the same. If you put your tree on the curb, it'll be picked up, and it won't be collected by Waste Management. It won't go into a landfill. So it's a good thing. We'll be sending out cards.
They should be arriving sometime later this week or,
So it's gonna happen before or after when Waste Management goes out, that's part of their,
Well, Waste Management will pick up your tree anytime. So if you put your tree on the curb, it doesn't, Waste Management will take it whenever. They just throw it in the truck. So we do it on a Monday because Waste Management's collection is on a Tuesday. And so we assume that
Well, they'll get them trees first.
we'll get them first.
And the chipper belongs to the manor or us? Is it our chipper?
we don't own it, we have possibility of borrowing one. If not, there's a rental place right on Neville Island that will be able to rent one.
Oh, okay. The manor used to have a chipper, I didn't know if we were using theirs as well.
was it
I
in
think
the
it probably
garage?
burned. I don't think they have much of anything yet, you know, anything replaced yet. And
Okay,
it's weather dependent, obviously. It did snow on our pickup day last year, but we got the authority guys to come help. So some of our guys were plowing, and the authority guys helped us out last year. So we will, unless it is a blizzard, we will aim to try to complete this on that Monday, even if it snows somewhat, so that we can get it before Waste Management comes around.
okay. Speaking of snow, we're trying to keep up our chorus of reminding residents not to park on township streets during snow events or when snow is expected. I'm very purposely trying not to look at Manager Patterson because during the last snow event, my car was parked on Rockledge Drive and I caught an earful.
Did you get a bunch of cards on your car?
I didn't.
I
But-
put like 6 there.
Stick them in every door handle, you know.
All right, so fair enough. Don't park on township streets during snow events, and let's move on. Okay, last item, agenda item on new business, conditional use application, Alderman Holdings, 200 Deer Run Road, LLC.
This is basically to set you up for next week. There will be a conditional use hearing at the beginning of the legislative meeting next week. The applicants are, it's Alderman Holdings, 200 Deer Run Road LLC is the name, but it's Northway Christian Church. And they have acquired 2 variances for parking and for setback. And they have submitted their application through the engineer and for review, and you'll have his review letter in your packet. They are going to be using the Vesuvius building as a church. However, it's going to stay on the tax rolls, it's owned by Alderman Holdings, and they say that it will stay as a taxable property, it's being leased, their 20-year lease to Northway to use the facility as a church. So, a place of worship is a conditional use in the C2 industrial district, so they need to come before the board to get approval for that use. And they will be here next week for that, and the engineer will be here, and Harlan will be here to explain anything. Thank you.
So is the building going to be used for that just on Sundays, or is it going to be used for that the entire time? Are they is it gonna be considered church like all week long? Because right now they use the school.
Right, they say there are offices in there, and they're gonna be using some of the offices for staff, but for what the presentation we've heard through the planning commission, that it'll be about 10 people on site normally during the week. But they have a service time from, I think it was 9:30 to 11:30 on Sundays, and that's gonna be their main peak time.
They're gonna add 269 parking spaces to what's there.
So if you look at the building, the driveway goes in, there's a gate across the driveway right now. The driveway that goes in, there's a big grassy area right there, and they're going to be paving that in and making parking out of that. And they have done underwater, they will be doing underwater stormwater detention and things, and that's all part of the review in here. So there will need to be a stormwater agreement and a developer's agreement, but that's.
What about traffic control when they come out? Do they have anything? Are
Didn't
they gonna
see
need like someone waving, like if you go up Mount Nebo, that's a huge church.
Yeah.
They have police officers posted there when they're exiting.
That didn't come up, that might be a question for next week.
I don't know, it sounds like a lot of cars. No, that's it, I just wanted to know. I was more curious in the tax part, because why are they still paying the taxes if they're only using it?
The
For
owner
worship.
is, I think, wanting to use, there's some storage areas in the building too, and the owners say that they want to maintain some of that use for the storage, so maybe that,
Pays up, that makes the benefit for them to pay the taxes on, that's what it
yes.
was. I didn't know why they would do that otherwise, unless they're being very charitable. I guess the taxes are bad.
Okay, anything else with respect to the conditional use application?
If you wanna follow along next week when they're here, you can bring these materials back with you if you wanted to, but they'll be here, they have poster boards and visuals and stuff, so, to make their presentation.
Okay, any other new business?
Well, on a similar vein, has Amazon been notified of the damage to our property?
Yes.
Are they gonna?
Oh, I don't know about Amazon, but the truck drivers have been cited. We've had some.
What damage are you talking about?
Yeah. There's damage to our front lawn, where they just put up posts to alleviate it. But it's clearly, I assume it's from the excess traffic.
There was an incident last week where the police were stopped ticketing someone from speeding coming towards the facility, and a tractor trailer came up and went around them and went around into our yard and came back,
Right.
and they got a ticket also. They got a ticket also.
Good.
Okay, and any other new business? It's not on our agenda, but we're legally obligated to open ourselves for citizen participation.
I dropped it off, that's awful, I meant to take off executive session.
Well, they're becoming part of the family.
Oops.
I have one question.
Gwen, that is a serious oversight.
Sure.
I already asked that question, and she did not have an answer.
Last year, it was a delicious assortment of Costco cookies.
They
They actually were very good.
They actually have very good cakes.
When they're fresh,
too.
they're good,
Yeah.
yeah.
Any other citizen participation? Okay, does that mean that our executive session is a nullity?
Unless Chris is calling for one.
Hooray! We are adjourned. I'll see everybody next week. Thank you.